Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I typically do reviews or reactions to TV shows, politics, things like that. Today I am tuning into a new TV show that I've never heard of before. If you're living under a rock, there was a clip from Joseline's Cabaret that was essentially trending on Twitter for the past, let's say 5 or 7 days. It involved someone being vocal and vulnerable and saying that she had an abortion despite having twins, like being pregnant with twins, and someone referred to that as double homicide, and that was the word that's been trending and just being attached to a lot of tweets, and that is surrounding this TV show. I did not know that there was a season 1 prior to this season, but I am starting it out. I subscribed to Zeus Network maybe 30 minutes before the episode had premiered, and I just took notes throughout the episode. It's less than an hour, about 40 something minutes, and I'm just gonna try and run through exactly what happened. Typically when I do reviews, I have my notes on the sides. I can go in chronological order. And it was actually kind of hard for me because I don't know a lot of the girls' names. There are girls that are in the show that are trying to get into Cabaret. There's 10 of them, and they all have, again, their different nicknames. And not all of them either introduced it or maybe got that much recognition, so it was hard for me to note it, but later in the season, I'll learn it. So let's get into it. Joseline said that the purpose of the show is to showcase your talent. The talent is most of these women are dancers, strippers. They say they're sex workers, just anything. I'm all for women empowerment. I don't care exactly what they do, but good for them. I didn't know, again, it existed until last week, but Lord, this season is based in Atlanta, and it starts with Joseline walking outside the house, mansion, estate with her man, her fiance, this lavish estate, and his name is Ballistic Beast. I think this is the part I had a little spilling air about Ballistic, and they toasted to the Cabaret and just giving the overall opportunity to 10 women. I will say what the prize is, because that's when they mentioned it later on. I'm not sure if it's the same prize as the first season. We get a glimpse about the girls from the first season. There's 2 girls that are coming in, so I'm not really sure exactly how they win or not, but they're coming back. So I feel like from that alone, they have the upper hand or the advantage to try and win because they've already been here before. We see the girls arrive at the airport, they get in a van, they're taking them to the estate. They're all kind of talking, whether it's in the van or in their confessional. Some girls are twerking, some people are having a good time, people are smiling, people are bedazzled, veneers, like, Lord knows, I want to get my teeth done. Some of these people look amazing. I'm not saying some don't, but some had a lot more camera time. I was like, if I could look this amazing with my hair looking like that, all that, whoa. But yeah, these girls were picked for a reason. I understand a lot of them have very big personalities, which makes good TV. And the only girl's name that I remember that was from the first season was Sapphire. So again, I said they had the upper hand, and the winning prize overall is $10,000 and going to Vegas to be in the Cabaret. The girls had mentioned that money means nothing to them because they get money like nothing. They get money, they're ballers essentially, but this is just nice exposure potentially, but good for them. I mean, I wish I had that like nothing, and 10,000 meant nothing to me because to me it does mean something. And they eventually pull up to the estate. Joseline walked out to essentially meet and greet them. They're all cheering and stuff, and she immediately starts with, I thought y'all gonna look better than this. Like, says it to them as I expect her, as I've seen her on other TV show franchises. And they're like, what did you expect? We just got from the airport. But apparently she's expecting homegirls to be pulling up with heels and dresses, makeup. But again, who knows how far some of them have flown just to get to Atlanta. But they're like, okay, whatever. She was also very upfront about the fact that she doesn't want any of them to be busting it open for her man, because her man, fiance, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be living there with her as well too. It's a really big estate. There's a lot of rooms. I'm kind of curious if this is just a mansion that they rented for this, but it's super, super big. And she's like, yeah, my man's here, but don't try and get to my man. So it's like, okay, explanatory. He's her fiance. When they get into the house, Joseline tells everyone about the prize that they're competing for. As I mentioned, 10,000. And immediately someone started crying. I said, okay, where is this going? And as I'm seeing the scene, I'm like, oh no, this is the clip that happened. We're not that far into the episode. We're already about to get to the double homicide abortion story. So it turns out that it's Aqua, that's her name, is the woman who had the abortion. She goes into it to saying that she had twins. She was pregnant with twins at the time, and that the man, the father of her children, was like, I'm gonna walk out on you guys, or like her and the kids. And from that point, she's like, okay, like, he's not gonna be in their lives, I'm gonna have an abortion. Apparently it was 4 months. I also don't know the window of time that's like appropriate for people to have an abortion, but some people are just not fit or in the right place mentally, financially to have one. So I'm not gonna shame anyone for getting an abortion. Who is anyone else to do that other than Big Lex? Big Lex was the one who was like, oh, double homicide. And everyone was just like, oh. And then that girl was like, what the F? Joseline said, who was it? And the girls rightfully so started pointing at her like, hey, I'm not getting affiliated with that. That is not me. That was not the comment I made. And Big Lex pulls up like, what's good? Basically like, yeah, I said the comment, and then so what? And I was like, yeah, I don't really see the point of pulling her forward, because if she made the comment, she said it out loud and she knew that people were going to hear it, especially you said it in front of the person who said that it was a very traumatizing situation for her. You're not going to back down from it, as she shouldn't, because she said it. But it was just like, okay, like, we just started, no one's even on their rooms yet. No one's really properly introduced themselves aside from like the van maybe. And we're starting with this. Besides all that happening, the fiance walks into the room because she calls him in, and he's introduced essentially as like an additional mentor or resource when Joseline isn't around. I hope and pray none of these girls try to do anything with him, because when you're on camera too, she's like your boss and kind of like guiding you to be Joseline, or just have that kind of resource. Imagine you're trying to be wild on TV. So I hope no drama with him happens. The girls were eventually dismissed to go and pick their rooms, and we got a little bit more introductions. The only one I really remember so far is Yummy. Yummy is beautiful. The girl that stuck out to me, like her, I was like, oh, her skin, her hair, her voice, she's just a really pretty girl. But as they were picking their rooms out, an argument has happened. Yes, they had their introductions a little bit. Joseline talked about them, told them to go to their rooms, and people were yelling. I said, how are you guys yelling and it hasn't been 24 hours? My assumption was maybe someone's room got picked and someone else wanted it. No, it was Big Lex versus the whole house. Big Lex is the girl who made the double homicide comment, and everyone was essentially not necessarily just defending Aqua. They're just like, that wasn't cool, you need to back down. And Homegirl was just like popping off, saying this person's the ugliest, person's popping it open, doing this, doing that. I said, okay, as I expected, she's not backing down from it, because again, if you make a statement like that, you're not going to back down. But they're just going at her, and eventually a girl named Natural, I believe, kind of hopped in, because she's like, okay, it's hitting home for me because I've also had an abortion as well too. So it's like, imagine you're just saying that about someone, like one person, it could have affected all of the other 8 girls, you know, that's 2 of them that was involved in the argument. It could have been anyone else. Like, it happens. You're not going to shame someone for abortion. Things happen. Abortion is a choice, but it's not someone to shame anyone about. That's all I have to say about it. So again, I'm not on her side about it, but they were just going off. She was just like, F you, and everyone's still trying to like tell her like it wasn't okay, maybe like back down from it, maybe apologize. But she's like, I'm not backing down. I'm gonna keep going, F y'all, etc., etc. I'm like, okay. One girl versus the whole house, and she is totally fine with it. I'm not saying like she would cry or be upset, because she's owning up to what she said and she stands by it. Next, Natural, who's the second girl who's gotten an abortion in the past, and said like it happened when she was young, it was out of her control, and she had to relearn how to walk due to that. I said, women are powerful. Women, this machine, and having to carry a baby and then not carry one, like, Lord. So again, of course it hit home for her, but she was the one that was essentially almost fighting the battle for Aqua, because Aqua was just in a very vulnerable state, as we'll see later on in the episode. But she's trying to go at it, and they were like just going at each other. I was surprised in that moment that they were not swinging. I said, okay. But what was like, I guess the lighthearted like moment about it, Joseline pulls up with a cup of noodles, not anything, you know, extravagant, but you know, it's a cup of noodles. She's like, hey y'all, why are you guys interrupting my, she was in the bathroom, and I had my cup of noodles with me, so apparently she's eating her cup of noodles while that's going down. I was in my moment, I was in my bathroom, when I hear yelling, what are you yelling about? We just got out of the introductions, you guys are supposed to be picking the rooms, not fighting. And eventually she learns of the arguments about the double homicide. I said homicide. And she's like, you guys are not in the place to be arguing without, again, there's other things to be focusing on to get your room. And eventually it turns into a twerking / dancing battle between Natural and Big Lex. I said, how do we get here? Now, why did this get brought into this? You know, they started doing some leg pulls up, twerking on the floor, split. I said, okay. And Joseline's like, yeah, I didn't expect this. It went into a whole dance battle. And I said, okay, if this is what the rest of the season is gonna be, I'm here for the ride. I am curious to see how it's gonna play out and exactly how they win. But some of the girls were just like, okay, whatever, let's just move on, because Joseline eventually said, go and pick your room and figure this out, like move on from this. Some of them were not grateful, saying that they've had better looking suites before. Other girls are sharing a room together. I guess it was just that big suite area. Like, it was just very interesting. When that was all playing out and girls were getting in their room, there was a disclaimer on the screen saying that Aqua was not doing well. Like, in regards to what we didn't know. Joseline goes and talks to her again. Aqua's the girl who's had the abortion with the twins at 4 months. And Joseline's like, what's going on? And Aqua is vulnerable and saying, like, I want to kill myself. I don't want to be here. I feel low. And it's like, being mentally low is not easy. Mental health is no joke. It is serious, and people almost kind of like put it on the back burner, and that's when it kind of gets back to you and like amplifies up and like it sneaks up on you. I personally don't believe that going on a reality TV show and essentially being around other women who are on the same energy as you is the most peaceful, therapeutic way to move past something, especially when it seems like she's very hurt about the situation still. But like, I just was like, hold on. And Joseline's advice in the confessional, not to her face, but she said, do you want to kill yourself because you killed your twins or because that man doesn't want you? Not really the best advice to give someone who's kind of in a strong mental down situation. But she kind of cried a little bit. It's like, okay, I'm gonna stay it out and everything. But I'm like, okay, let's move on. Next, we see Lucky and Blueface Barbie. They apparently know each other prior to coming on this show, and they both vented about the situation to different women. Of course, when there's two girls or two men or anyone having a dispute of some sort, they will have two different stories. So when they were telling it to each other, it kind of lined up, but there were still like inconsistencies, if that makes sense. I said, okay, this is how it's gonna play out. We're episode 1. They didn't really acknowledge each other from what I saw, but here is where we're at, and they're just not friends. I don't know if they were ever like actually friends, or they just kind of knew of each other and they had a falling out. But again, it kind of gets towards that at the end of the episode. Next, Joseline goes to her fiance or like their bedroom to vent about the situation and give the rundown of what happened between Big Lex and Aqua, and then the mental health and everything, and just like the fight, the comments. And he's like, yo, like mental health is no joke. Like he mentioned it as well too. Like this is just, it's a lot. And it's also giving her a massage because she's stressed out about the situation. I'm not gonna say she shouldn't be stressed out because she's essentially invited these girls into this environment. She's kind of almost overseeing it. And imagine she's kind of like I don't know how to say, but you know, like she's in charge of what everything's going on. Imagine one of the girls you're looking over is having a mental situation. People are fighting already, like things like that. So it's like a big responsibility to take on. So I can only imagine. But then they kind of just move on. The girls are getting their best outfits on. They go downstairs to mingle, meet and greet, have a great time. So the first night, everyone's wearing dresses, bedazzled heels and makeup and everything. Basically, a complete full circle from their airport outfits, to say the least. And they're drinking, they're playing pool, just talking shit, because that's what girls do, because we do that. But then Joseline strolls down looking like a goddess. She has bedazzled makeup, hair, everything. She looks amazing. She comes down, she walks up to the first girls in sight, and that includes Blueface Barbie, who's having the issues with Lucky. Hopefully I said her name earlier, but it's Lucky and Blueface Barbie who have this beef, if you might call it that. As she comes down, she's talking about it, and she's like, yeah, Unlucky, her name's not Lucky. And then Lucky can hear, because imagine you're saying someone's name, and they don't care either. The thing is, she can hear it, and she comes down. And Lucky's like, hey, like, what are you saying about me? And Blueface is like, whatever, stop talking to me, get away from me, get away from me. And then Lucky's still trying to talk to her. And Joseline's just in there like, because you know, you don't really know what's gonna happen. We just got here, it hasn't been 24 hours. Like I said, they got there in the morning. It is the night of the first day. And they're just talking and talking, going back and forth and saying like, basically what went down in the DMs when they first met each other, and just saying there's inconsistencies in the energy when they first met. And Lucky asked Joseline, may I? And the thing is, when she was saying may I was like, there's no way she's asking for her to like have an opportunity to talk. But that's what Joseline took it as. She's like, maybe she's just trying to like have the upper hand. She wants to like have like say what she has to say. And it's like, may I? May I? I said, when I say may I meant fighting. And Lucky jumped up and was popping it on Blueface Barbie. Said, okay, this is the show we're watching right now. I wouldn't say they were fighting. It was more Lucky had an advance on her. She jumped on her, and at that point, already swinging on her. I said, okay, happy first episode of the season. Yeah, and then we have the trailer for the rest of the season. But yeah, it starts with little verbal arguments, some actual physical stuff, people knowing each other, people coming back from the first season, which I've never seen, but it's a lot. That's my first review on this episode and season. Let me know what you think down in the comment, and hopefully see you in the next review. Bye!